Welcome to part 2 on how to get McDavid Level Lean. Now in the first part, we looked at theoretically what is lean and how does it work. But what I care about and what you care about is how do we actually improve our lean. So that's what I'm going to go over in this video with 6 practical tips to do so. And make sure to stick around to the end for some simple drills as well. Now these tips are my recommendations. They're not necessarily the rule. So experiment and try which ones work and resonate with you. So the first tip is a mindset shift. From thinking in terms of leaning to thinking in terms of falling. So for me, leaning implies I have to hold myself fixed in this position, which is not the case. It is the forces acting with and against our bodies that are holding us in this position. What we actually want to feel is that we are letting ourselves completely go and falling towards the center of the circle. The second tip is to plant your feet as far away from the center of the circle as possible. So if you imagine you're going around the circle, you want to feel like you're planting as close to the boards as possible, reaching towards the boards with every step. With that said, the third tip is to keep your feet narrow. So for max lean, you want to land your inside foot outside edge right next to your outside foot inside edge. Think of it like this. If I stepped out wide with my inside edge, and then I planted my outside edge right underneath me, well, this becomes my point of ground contact, and then I have no lean. Now, situationally, that may not always be the case, but for max lean, it is. Tip number 4, of course, with this much lean, we need grip. If we don't have any grip, we'll be slipping and sliding on every step. So for that, we need heel pressure on both edges. Heel pressure will give us that grip and also allow us to get more lean before hitting the side of our boot and slipping out. It will also get us going on a tighter radius or tighter turn. So we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. With that said, we still want to have good shin angle. We still want to be slicing the ice to the toe on our outside edge. We just want to make sure that we're starting with our weight to the heel and we're riding that heel just a tad bit longer. Tip number 5 is posture. This is especially important on our forehand side cross-unders, which is more challenging for me and for most. In order to get a sense for what a true lean feels like, we want to have our top hand tight to our body in the Crosby crevice right here. A lot of people on their forehand side cross-unders will exaggerate their hand towards the middle of the circle. And that's fine, you can do that. But by doing so, you're not getting a sense for what a true lean is supposed to feel like. And that's why I call this an artificial lean. Because by doing so, it's your hand that is pulling you in and initiating the lean versus your center of mass actually falling in towards the middle of the circle. Again, you can do this, and plenty of good players do, but in order to get a sense for what a true lean feels like, you want to keep your hand tight to your body. And that's what we see from McDavid. He's able to keep his hand in close to his body in the crevice and still get this crazy lean. Now, I don't recommend you have your stick go in the opposite direction. It is easier to have your stick pointed to the center of the circle, but what I do recommend is that you keep your top hand tight to your body in the Crosby crevice. And of course, we can't talk about posture without talking about the shoulders. I know a lot of people say you have to keep your shoulders level, and that very well may be the case. But if we look at McDavid, he sometimes has his shoulders level, he sometimes doesn't. And so for me, the most important part is that your shoulders don't dip below your hips. So this would be okay, and this wouldn't be. And as always, play around with what feels most comfortable to you. Finally, the most important tip, and I can't stress this enough, wear full equipment. In order to work on your lean, you need to be able to completely let yourself go and fall into the turn. But you also need to be okay with actually falling and hitting the ice. If you don't wear full equipment, you're putting a mental restriction on yourself subconsciously. Even if you think, oh, I'm not scared to fall, your subconscious is. And it will not let you commit to how you have to commit in order to fall into the turn. And in all fairness, even if you do wear equipment, you still might need to break through that mental barrier of your body just not wanting to let go. And that comes from reps and reps and reps of falling and getting back up. So how about some drills? The first drill I have for you is to prime your ankles and get a feel for your outside edge, which is the ankle collapse auxiliary. In this drill, you'll be gliding on the flat part of your blade and then relax and collapse your ankle to the outside, always keeping good shin angle. And as you collapse, you want to fall towards the center of the circle. And what you'll notice is your skate gets automatically sucked under you without you having to do anything. Now, if you want an extra challenge, you can try the max lean drill created by Kevin at ValleyApex Training. In this drill, you're going to start with normal cross-unders going around the same circle. And with every pass and every step, you want to try to lean more and more and more until eventually you fail. Again, it's called a max lean drill for a reason. You don't stop until you hit the ice. What you'll find is that as you build speed, you're able to lean more and more. What you'll also find is that the more you lean, the tighter you go. Remember those positive feedback loops we saw in part 1. Now this drill may feel sloppy, it may feel choppy, but that's the point. You are pushing yourself beyond what you're comfortable with, and that is what you need to do in order to achieve this level of lean. So that's going to conclude this video. If you found that helpful, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And if you haven't seen part 1 yet, go watch that right now. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.